Let's be honest. Climate change can feel, well, impossibly big. But what if I told you that the way we respond to it is actually a pretty straightforward two-part strategy? In this explainer, we're going to cut right through the noise to understand the core problem and the two powerful ways we have to fight back.
So let's start with the most basic question of all. We hear about it all the time, right? Global warming. But what's really driving it? Why is our planet actually running a fever?
Well, the answer really comes down to this: human activities, especially burning fossil fuels. See, this isn't some natural cycle we're in. We are releasing these greenhouse gases that are wrapping around the Earth like a blanket, a heat-trapping blanket. And it's steadily turning up the global thermostat. But a slightly warmer planet doesn't just mean, nicer weather for a picnic. That little bit of extra heat is like pushing the first domino in a massive, massive chain reaction. It sets off this whole cascade of consequences that impacts pretty much everything. First up, a warmer world means melting ice. That's just physics. As glaciers and the polar ice caps shrink, and as the ocean water itself actually expands from the heat, sea levels rise. And that puts coastal communities, even entire cities all around the globe, in serious trouble. And all that extra energy trapped in our atmosphere, it has to go somewhere. It basically supercharges our weather systems. So what would have been a normal storm becomes a devastating hurricane. A warm spell becomes a dangerous heat wave. A dry season becomes a crippling drought. You get the picture. The impact doesn't just stop at the shoreline either. Our oceans have been absolute heroes, absorbing a huge amount of the extra CO2 we've pumped out. But the consequence is it's literally changing their chemistry. They're becoming more acidic, and that is an existential threat to all kinds of marine life, from coral reefs to the shellfish we eat. And, the final domino in this chain is biodiversity. When you combine rising seas, wild weather, and changing oceans, you get habitats that are changing way too fast for species to keep up. We're talking about losing countless plants and animals forever. Okay. That's a pretty daunting list. It is really easy to feel overwhelmed. So the critical question becomes, how on earth do you respond to a challenge on this scale? The good news is, there is a clear framework for how we move forward. And this right here is the key. It's a two-pronged approach: mitigation and adaptation. The easiest way to think about this: imagine your bathtub is overflowing. Mitigation is lunging for the faucet to turn the water off. You're stopping the problem at its source. Adaptation is grabbing every towel you own to mop up the water that's already all over the floor. So let's start with part one of the plan: turning off that faucet. This is what we call mitigation, and it is all about tackling the root cause of the problem, our greenhouse gas emissions, to stop climate change from getting any worse than it already is. And this means making some really big shifts. First, we've got to transform our entire energy grid, moving away from fossil fuels and towards renewables like solar and wind. It also means using smart policies, like putting a price on carbon to discourage pollution. It's about being more efficient everywhere, from our cars to our homes. And, this is a big one, we also have to protect and restore our planet's natural carbon sinks, like rainforests, that literally pulls CO2 out of the air for us. But here's the thing: even if we could magically turn off that faucet today, the tub has already overflowed. Some of the impacts of climate change are already locked in, and that's where the second part of our strategy, adaptation, comes into play. It's time to grab the mop. Adaptation is all about adjusting to our new reality and building up our resilience. So this means physical stuff, like building seawalls to protect coastal cities. It means being innovative, like developing new kinds of crops that can survive in hotter, drier conditions. And it means creating better systems, like early warning networks for storms or smarter ways to manage our water. So if you take away just one thing, let it be this: mitigation and adaptation are not an either-or choice. We can't just pick one. We absolutely have to do both at the same time. Think of it this way: one strategy is fighting the source of the fire, and the other is protecting ourselves from the flames that are already licking at our door. You need both. So there you have it. One absolutely massive, planet-sized problem, but it's broken down into a clear two-part strategy: mitigation and adaptation. Together, they give us a real path forward, a way to actually take action on one of the greatest challenges of our lifetime. The only real question left is, how fast can we get it done?